is happening, everybody? I'm Larry Roberts.
And I'm Sarah Lucy, and this is Branded, your comprehensive guide to creative branding.
And on this insightful episode of the podcast, we're going to be taking a deep dive into contact information, business cards, name dropping, and everything in between when it comes to exchanging contact information.
We've talked about this a few times on different episodes, whether it's how we feel about our cards, and we mentioned some of the horrible cards that we got from Podfest, but we want to really dive into it and just focus a whole episode on what kind of some best practices and complaints that we have and all of that stuff.
Well, you know, the thing is, and this is good because we have entirely two different perspectives on what makes a good business card. You know, I think mine comes from my masculine approach to life and the fact that I have to have this very rigid, very strong, very thick, very manly card. And you seem to bring the opposite to the table.
I mean, I'm fine with a basic business card. And it's funny because I remember, I think we were at Podfest. You brought me somebody's card and it was like made of metal or something. And it really showed the differences in how we see things, because in your mind, you're like, wow, this is awesome. This guy is like, must be super legit. And in my mind, I'm like, this guy is bad with money.
Well, I have no doubt that the metal cards are, I mean, they're at the extreme of high-end business cards. I've seen them at a couple of different places. That one that you're talking about, and then I was at another conference a few months ago. Someone else had a metal business card, but I find it interesting because it tends to, well, I'm going to counter myself here, but it seemed applicable at the conference that I was at a couple of months ago because it was a security firm. And they did private security, and you have this metal business card that maybe it's supposed to imply that it's, I don't know, bulletproof or something, who knows, but it was just very, very impactful from a security company to have that thick metal business card.
See, I wouldn't feel more or less secure with somebody just because their business card is metal. I don't know. We know that we have different views.
I think they were trying to get you to put it in their breast pocket to cover their heart or anything.
But, is it like, is it They should make one of them in like Kevlar.
That'd be kind of cool. That'd be super cool.
I think like with business cards, if you're going to pay like a premium cost for your business cards, at least make them like really cool, like metal, whatever, like the really thick ones, whatever. I've seen, and I've never seen these in person. I've seen them on like Reddit and stuff, but like the personal trainer's card that's on the stretchy stuff that you have to pull it apart to see the contact info. I've seen the divorce attorneys
out to see the
exactly.
Yeah, I got you.
The divorce attorney whose business card is perforated, so you could rip it in half. So it's like one goes to the wife, one goes to the husband. Like things like that are super branded, super creative. I love that.
Yeah.
But if you're just giving me a business card, all I need is your contact info. I don't need it to be like metal. I'm going to throw it out anyway. Now I feel like I got to recycle it.
Why not? Oh gosh, here we go. But why not? You got to be memorable. How many business cards do you get at a conference?
A lot.
Okay. So what differentiates one card from the other? What makes you go, oh, I probably need to look at this one, or makes you even remember the person that you were talking to? You go, oh, I don't remember their name, but I remember their card was rocking. And at least, you know, you can go find that card and reach back out to that person. What makes your business card stand out from everybody else's and not get lost in that pile, which ends up where?
Recycling bin.
Right here in the freaking trash can.
They're paper. You recycle them.
Those are business cards.
Paper. Recycle.
Something like that. Save the trees. But my point is, what's the point of having a business card if it's just going to end up in the trash can and nobody's going to remember it?
We talked about this a few episodes ago when I redid my cards. I added the note section because I noticed that everybody was trying to write down something to remember me by, and they couldn't on my old cards.
Yeah.
So I have a note section so they can write something down. But honestly, I'm more judgmental about the content on the card than the card itself.
Well, I mean, it's definitely a combination of the two. You really want to get into the content side of things. Sure. I mean, what do you need on a business card? You need contact information.
Yes.
It needs to be what? Legible.
A size font that is readable. Guys.
Yeah.
When you're designing your cards, whatever you design them in, make the canvas the size of a business card. Make it 2 inches by 3 inches so that you see what the actual font size is. because if you're using font size 4, nobody can read your card.
Yeah, and I mean that's super frustrating when you're trying to reach out to somebody and you're looking at their card and you can't even make out the number, you can't make out the email address.
Less is more.
Yeah, less is
You
definitely.
don't need everything on your business
Oh
card.
my gosh, dude! I saw a couple of cards at this last conference, and
They would have a bio.
yeah, everything is on the card. I'm like, what in the name of Sam Hill are we trying to do here?
It's a like your speaker one sheet and your business card should be 2 different documents.
Yeah, it's not a mini one sheet. It's just
It's not a resume. I did see someone was at Podfest looking for like job opportunities, like freelance opportunities.
yeah.
And her card was actually a URL or a QR code to get to her resume. That's super smart. Do things like that, but don't print your resume on the business card. Because
Okay.
nobody's going to read that.
Well, I'm going to counter a little bit too. At the same time, while I do respect a good QR code on the back of a card, that's why I put them on my cards as well.
Damn.
But my QR code goes to my calendar, so you can book some time with me. We can have a conversation. But I saw a couple of cards too that just had QR codes.
Oh yeah, no.
A logo and a QR code. I'm like, why would I scan
context?
No, I don't even know what it is. I don't even know
context.
What it is. Yeah.
We need context. I think every time I put a QR code on something, I have a little note of like what will happen when you scan it.
Yeah.
And I think that's necessary because I'm not just going to, it's like opening an email from someone with an attachment that you don't recognize. Like, I don't know where this is going to send me.
It could, that's interesting. I never thought about that from a cybersecurity perspective. Phishing scams on business cards.
Oh, we just gave people bad ideas.
Well, you just gave me an idea. I'll tell you that.
Gosh.
No, but
new business venture.
New business venture.
No.
Solutions.com. Check it out.
Oh gosh.
Don't check it out. It's not mine anymore. So, but anyway. But yeah, that's interesting because you don't know where it's going. You're just scanning a random QR code. It could go to literally anything.
It makes me think of like, but this is gonna date myself, but I'm not that old, so it's okay.
Yeah,
Back when we had like AOL Instant Messenger, did anybody else have the super mature like boys in their like 5th grade class on AOL Instant Messenger put in their little like away message, click to watch a brutal car crash, and you click it and it's actually porn?
Huh. Yeah, that's phishing. Yep. So
I'm just like, or like I'm gonna get rickrolled if I scan this. Oh my god, my next business card. I want to rickroll people.
Dude, exactly. You just nailed it. I'm literally gonna get some business cards made up and rickroll.
Okay, but do them my way and don't spend $1 per card on them, please.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely do it your way. I'd spend 2 cents a card.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So okay, what should we actually put on a business card? Name, email, website, logo, so they know the company. I have seen people that actually on one side will list like what they do, which that if you have space for it, I think that's really smart because at least then like that's context. Like you need context.
We're countering ourselves a little bit here because we're saying now list out everything that you do.
Not everything, but no, I said if there's room. I think it was Virginia Elder. We mentioned her a few times.
Sure.
I think she's the first person I saw do this, and she had all the contact info on the front and it fit very well. So then the back was just like freelance writing, show notes, SEO, like very simple list of like a few of the services that she offers. So when people look at her card, they do know why they have it.
Right.
And the space, like it fit well. The font sizes were still big enough to read. So she did it really well. There's definitely ways you could do that very poorly.
From a design perspective, what are your thoughts there? Are you a horizontal card advocate, or do you think the verticals work well?
I think honestly, I don't think it makes much of a difference if you're fitting the stuff on well. I don't think I've ever done vertical, mostly because my URLs are so long that I would have to make them too small to fit horizontally. Vertically.
A Bitly link on there or something. If you have a long URL, could you maybe just convert it to use a URL?
Well, yeah, but my email address?
I'm just throwing out ideas.
Yeah. Like my email address is really long. So like it wouldn't fit on one line if I put in a readable font size if I did vertical.
Gotcha.
But I've seen people do it. If it works, like there's a card right next to me that's vertical.
Oh, look at that.
And
hold that card back up. That's kind of interesting. So there's some interesting There's some nice components to that
I'm
card.
gonna. I don't want people to just be able to stalk her. I'm gonna
Yeah.
cover up the actual scanny code.
So we have a headshot on there.
Mm-hmm.
Have rounded corners.
There's rounded corners on it. It's for a podcast, and it's actually in Spanish.
Okay.
Um, está en español. Es en español? Yo no sé. But it has a URL. I mean, QR code that I'm assuming is going to go to her podcast, but I don't actually know. It has an like her handle. I'm hoping that's for all of her social media, or else that's confusing because it's not labeled with which social media it is. And then on the back is an explanation of what the podcast is.
And do
Which
we have just regular ink there? It looked like maybe it was some foil embossed ink or
oh no,
something.
this it's just regularly printed.
Just regularly printed. I thought I saw some reflection there that looked aluminum. So
No, that's just the lighting. But
gotcha.
what's interesting with this one is like it then I don't know if this was on purpose, but you flip it this way to read it because if you just flip it over, it's upside down.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if that was an accident or if that was on purpose. But the card itself is visually appealing.
Yeah.
So I think that one was done well. But if you're not going to do a business card, like what's your take on the digital ones?
Yeah, I think digital has its place. And for a while, I was switching over to only doing digital because I'm like,
Mhm.
nobody does business cards anymore. And I used to even say that line when I'm at networking, ah, nobody does business cards anymore.
And then 14 people ask you for a
Yeah,
business
everybody
card.
wants my business card. So I don't care who's telling you that nobody uses business cards
They
anymore.
do.
They're not out there networking. I can promise you that so many people still want that physical card. Now, I don't know if it's just because they're programmed to ask for it, because traditionally speaking, that's what we're used to doing. But I just don't see where a digital business card is sufficient for representation. I think you need a traditional card along with a digital option.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why, while I don't have a digital card or one of those singular cards where you tap, because here, this is going to send me on a tangent, but I freaking hate those tap cards. Those are stupid. They never work. Everybody's like, well, tap my phone. And you're sitting there for 5 minutes trying to tap it, trying to tap it. No, that didn't work. Try to tap it, try to
In
tap
that time, you could have just typed your email address into my
it. Yeah, you
contacts.
could have just said, what's your name, man? And put it in your phone as a contact. Those things are stupid. The technology's not there. Everybody's on different OSs on their phones, or they have different manufacturers, and not all the cards work well with other phones, and it's just pure chaos. So digital cards, they have their place, but we're definitely not there yet. You need to have that physical card. And one of the things that I do to supplement a digital option is, if you look at my phone, my wallpaper is a QR code that takes you to, well, for right now, I'm using LinkedIn because I'm trying to build my LinkedIn presence.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd love to have people connect with me over on LinkedIn. So I chose LinkedIn, made me a QR code, and use it here. So if somebody wants to exchange contact information that way, I go here, scan my QR code. That takes you to my LinkedIn, and I make sure that we connect there. So that's my tangent on digital business cards. I think they serve a purpose, but they have not taken over the market. There's still a very, very strong use case for traditional cards as well.
Yeah, I have like a few like I'm kind of on the fence with it. Someone actually asked me prior to Podfest if they should pay the money to get the business cards printed or if their digital card would be okay. And for her, I said digital would be okay because of her goals. Like she wasn't building a business. She was kind of just like meeting people and networking, and it was very casual. So in that case, it's like we're getting close. It would have been like a rush printing job or like just get the ones that are like the 1 hour pickup, which never look as good. In this case, I think the digital is fine because it's not very like high stakes. But like I personally like I'm going to have my cards. But I feel like with the digital ones too, there's some that are just click to add to contacts or something, which is interesting because it's like I don't add my business cards to my phone contacts. I add
Yeah,
them to my business contacts.
I don't get that either. It's
So I'm
like
pretty sure I have some people in my contact list. I have no idea who they are, and I'm never going to reach out to them.
no, never. I'm not. I don't go
Yeah.
through my contacts on my phone and go, let's see, is that a business contact or is it somebody else?
Yeah.
No, if I
Like
don't know your
I
name,
don't get that.
I'm not going to remember you. I'm not going to remember your business. Well, now you're in my phone. I don't care. I'm still not going to remember you.
Yeah. I also like so I was having an issue getting the a URL that I forwarded to like show up correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And I went in on my phone and I cleared my history and closed all my tabs. And that's when I remembered that like 14 people had me scan their digital business card, and all it does is pull it up in a tab.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I just lost all that contact info just from clearing my browser.
Yeah. So you don't even remember their names.
No, I have no idea who they were. If guys, if anyone at Podfest had me scan their digital business card and I have not reached out to you, reach out to me, please. Because I'm sorry, I lost your info.
Yeah,
But
I'm not trying to be disrespectful. It's not like we don't remember you by because we're
we
being
met,
rude.
there was like 2,000 people there.
You meet a ton of people, and there's no way you can keep them all straight.
Yeah.
One of the things that I saw that I thought was super cool from a tech perspective was the what is it, name drop with your, if you're on the new Apple iOS 17, you can just take your phones and just bump them together, and then your phone lights up, and it's got this really cool look, and you exchange information.
But at the same time, that's the personal contact information. That's not business information.
Exactly. While it was cool to see it happen, I was like, oh, that's the coolest thing ever. And it's a nice little graphic that lights up.
Yeah.
And, I'm like, oh, that's the coolest. And it is kind of cool. And it's easy.
It's cool for personal.
It's cool for personal, but I just don't necessarily see the value from the business perspective, unless it's just somebody that you know you never reach out to. There are a couple of people that I did that with that I know I wanted their personal information, because whatever their services are or whatever information we were exchanging was extremely relevant. And it was something that I wanted to follow up on and build that personal relationship. But the personal word there is what's critical. The vast majority of folks that I met, while I want to stay in contact with them and I'd love to learn more about their businesses, it's not on a personal level. So that's where this functionality comes into play. You have to determine whether or not this is a personal contact that you want to create. Maybe it's a personal business contact, and now we're splitting hairs. But a lot of this digital stuff, man, I'm dating myself, but I just like a good paper card. I just like a good business card, something I can touch and feel with a nice texture that I can remember, and I can put it in my save pile. And that's pretty funny, because I just remembered that's what I was telling folks at Podfest. Because you get so many different cards.
You would say this goes in my save pile, which is my wallet.
Yeah. And I'd put it in my wallet. And that's because I knew I wanted to reach out to that person. I knew I wanted to extend that conversation.
So if anyone saw Larry put your business card in like his backpack or his pocket, you're not going to hear from him.
Sorry about that. Reach out to me, though. I'd love to hear from you.
Don't call us. We'll call you. Don't call.
Something like that.
We won't call you. Call us.
But honestly, I think 99% of all the cards that I got went into my save pile. But it was more of just making people exchanging cards feel good and let them know that I am going to follow up, because I guarantee you, every one of those cards that I got, I followed up on.
Yeah.
I sent personal emails to them, said, hey, great meeting you. Thank you for following up. And, that kind of takes us to a whole nother point. How many business cards do you get that you never follow up on?
Well, that's also why when we were talking about like our expo table and making sure that we get like we're able to convert leads the way we need to, you need to make sure that you're in control of the contact, because you just said for like how many do we not reach out to? The same thing with the other people. How many people got our cards and are never going to reach out to us?
Sure. 100%.
So when you're paying to be like a sponsor and in an expo hall, you need to make sure that you're the one in the power to reach out to these people, because you cannot guarantee that they will ever reach out to you. And they might really be interested in your services, but they're overwhelmed. They're just like unwinding. They might completely forget. So make sure that you capture their information. But jumping back to that, like personal versus business. So my friend who had asked me about the digital card, she then sends me what it would look like. And it looked great, but it had her cell phone number. And so I have a free Google phone number that I put on my business cards and my website. I know we're different on this because I don't think you do. So, but I use my Google number on all of my like public things so that my personal cell phone number isn't like out there. But I'll still, if I meet somebody, even if it is for business purposes, and I know that like I would talk to this person in the real world, this is a connection that won't just be transactional, I'll still give them my cell phone number just because it's easier for me. And I don't even have my Google number memorized. I have to look at my business card, but I have the option. I get to decide
you have your
that.
cell phone memorized, do you?
I do. I've had the same one since I was 12.
Oh, what is it?
Clever. Do you have your credit card number memorized? What is it?
No, I don't have that
But
one.
anyone from junior high or high school, if you want to get in touch with me, it's the same number. But,
That's funny because I've had the same personal number for, man, it's got to be 20 years. It's got to be.
I got my first cell phone when I was 12 or 13, and I'm 28. So
I've had this number forever. I can't remember having a different number. But anyways, but no, and I can see what the point there too, man, is from a safety perspective.
Yeah, you can track location from a cell phone number.
Yeah, and you don't want some creeping up on you, tracking you down from your cell phone number.
Yeah.
So it's super, super smart on your part.
And plus, like I might be able to choose who I give my business cards to, but I can't choose what they do with it. So you can find my business card on the street somewhere.
Right.
And like someone can easily just be like, oh, look, a phone number. I'm going to call her. And so I want to be in control of who gets my personal phone number and who gets my business number. And I've had times where it's like I give out my card, they contact me through the business number, and I switch them over to personal just because it's easier for me. Right. But I'll tell them like, hey, this is my business number. I'm going to text you from my other phone number.
But you have that control. And
exactly.
It's important.
Exactly. Yeah, no, when my friend showed me that hers was her personal phone number, I made her change it. I'm like, for your safety, I'm like, this makes me uncomfortable.
Sure.
And I'm making you change. Go get a Google number or remove your phone number completely.
Yep. Super, super smart there. But let me go back to following up on those business cards, because not just from conferences, but man, anytime you get a business card, take the time to go back and just drop a note to the person that gave it to you. If you can read it on their business card, reach out to them, because I promise you, if you're looking to leverage these contacts, if you just take that step to follow up, you're going to be 90%, and I'm just pulling that number out of the air, but you're going to be so much more successful than those people that are networking that do not follow up on those cards. Take the time, go home. If you want to, create a spreadsheet and enter that information in a spreadsheet so you have all of these contacts. Do something with that card. It's not so much as an insult to the person that gave you the card, because they kind of expect to give it to you. And believe it or not, expectations are you're not going to follow up. So if you do follow up, oh my gosh, you're going to make such an impact on that person that the odds of you doing business together are exponentially, I said 90%, we'll just say exponentially higher than they would have been if you did the same thing that every other person that gets their card does. And that's just throw it in a drawer. And then after about 6 months, you go, man, my drawer sure is dirty. And you dump it in the trash.
And what is it like? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. You miss 100% of the connections you don't actually reach out to.
Oh my gosh.
I'm a philosopher.
That is so deep.
Shallow as a shower.
Hey.
So I forever, I was super guilty of just getting cards and not doing anything with them, but I always kept them. So when I launched my company, I had a whole box, like a shoebox filled with business cards. And I was like, well, at one point they gave me their card, which that means that they're giving me permission to then reach out to them. Yeah. They didn't put a time limit on it. So when I first launched my company, that's how I created my first email list. So I took all of those business cards and I put them into my email list. And then I sent an email to all of them saying, like, if you're getting this email, we met at some point. It may have been like a year or two ago, but we met and you gave me your card.
But I remember you.
Yeah, we did this. And I even said, like, this is just an update. Here's what's going on with me. I started this company. Here's what I'm doing. And if you're still interested in staying in touch, just stay on my list. If not, feel free to unsubscribe. And a couple people unsubscribed, totally fine. I think I put a note saying we'll just avoid eye contact next time we see each other, because I had to guilt them a little bit to stay.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, marketing. But a lot of people stayed on, and I still kept them. And who knows if that'll turn into something, but it has an opportunity now, way more than it did when they were sitting in the shoebox under my desk.
No, that's great. And I think the point is just make sure that you follow up, and there's no expiration date on when that follow-up can happen. But the sooner you do it, the better chance of establishing that relationship and building on that simple exchange of contact information that you had with that person. So hopefully with this episode, we've exchanged some information with you that you find valuable. And if you do us a favor, smash that subscribe button so we can continue to bring you these amazing episodes each and every week. And with that, I'm Larry Roberts.
I'm Sarah Losi. We'll talk to you next week.